Alright guys, how we doing? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we share stories from Southeast Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, all of them. So if you've got a story you want to share, send it in. The email's in the description and I'll get it read out for you. Okay, we've got a pretty short success story for once. About a guy that goes to Vietnam, not looking for love. He goes there to work, but love finds him and it seems to end pretty good. So yeah, let's jump into this story. My name is Steve. When I graduated from university at 23, I was filled with a sense of adventure. I did not want to jump straight into a career like what most do when they finish university. I wanted to see a bit more of the world. Although I wanted to travel, I still needed to make money in them places. So I did a little research online, and that's when I came across the idea of teaching English in Vietnam. I always fancied going to Asia, though Vietnam really never came to mind. The only places I had ever been really was countries in Europe. I wanted to do something out of my comfort zone and do this travelling alone. I did not have much close friends or family at home, so didn't have much to lose. If it didn't work out, then I could easily come back home, get a job, and nothing lost but time. I would like to make it clear, while planning this trip to Vietnam and looking into teaching there, I was not looking for love. It never even crossed my mind. I wasn't interested in dating. I still felt young and wasn't ready to settle down at this stage in my life. So instead of diving into a typical career path, I packed my bags and headed to Vietnam, eager to teach English and engage in volunteer work. When I arrived, I was blown away. The bustling streets of Ho Chi Minh City welcomed me, and little did I know that this journey would forever change the course of my life. I forgot to mention that before I left, I had already secured a job teaching English and had a little apartment with a contract of 3 months at a time. I also joined a volunteer program at a child's home in Ho Chi Minh City that housed orphans and children in need. I must admit, I enjoyed volunteering more than teaching, though bills had to be paid unfortunately. I had been there a few months and things were going well. My teaching job was fantastic and I fell in love with volunteer work, slowly learning the language and the culture. My daily schedule was pretty packed, but that's just how I wanted it to be. One day while I was doing my volunteer work at a child's home, I came across a new worker there whose name was Lynn. I noticed her straight away due to her huge smile and her big beautiful eyes. I must admit, for the first time in my life, I was a little starstruck by her beauty. Her smile literally lit the room up. For weeks, our interactions were nothing more than casual small talk, like, "Hi, how are you?" and such. Sometimes I'd reply in my broken Vietnamese and she'd reply with a smirk, getting better. Luckily, she spoke fluent English. Although it was nothing more than small talk, I felt really drawn to her, like I couldn't wait to get there to see her, even if just for a brief moment. It came to my final day volunteering at the same place that Lynn was at, so I decided to ask her out on a date. I was thinking the worst she can say is no, and after today, I'd never see her again, so I wouldn't feel that much of an idiot. Summoning all of my courage that day, I finally asked Lynn out on a date. To my delight, she said yes. It felt pretty awesome. As I was expecting a no, I didn't really plan what I was going to say after she said yes. Our first date went a lot better than I expected. We went on a walk in some park and was chatting, getting to know each other. After that, Lynn took me down some back streets and found some great Vietnamese food, ending off by getting ice cream and me dropping her off at her place in a taxi. I did not even try to kiss her because I didn't want to mess it up or make her think I was being too eager. As we spent more time together, our connection deepened. We got through the little language barrier with laughter and patience. It wasn't that bad because Lynn already spoke really good English, and my Vietnamese was somewhat okay, I guess. Sharing stories and forming feelings for each other was great. Like I said, I wasn't searching for love when I came to Vietnam. Meeting someone was not in my plans at all, and settling down in a relationship certainly wasn't in my plans. After around 5 or 6 months of great dating, she said the words I was a bit worried about. Not, "I love you," but "I want you to meet my parents." I was expecting this to come sooner or later, but I was not prepared. I had heard and seen that Vietnamese families are really close together. I had in my head, if one of them don't like me or approve of me with Lynn, then all of them won't like it, which will lead to a breakup. Meeting Lynn's family was a big step in the right direction for our relationship. We decided that we would go and stay with them for the weekend. So we booked a hotel for the weekend that was really close to their place, so we could visit a lot. The first time I met her mum and dad, I was absolutely terrified, but I was quickly at ease after they greeted me so kindly. They spoke absolutely no English, but I didn't not want to talk to them just because we couldn't communicate, so I was getting Lynn to translate everything for me. The Vietnamese family values and customs were unfamiliar to me, but I was determined to understand and respect them. The weekend actually went pretty good. They cooked up some of the best food I have ever eaten in my life. When it was time to leave, they seemed to approve of me being with their daughter. Lynn told me that her mother told her that she liked me and approved, though I don't know if she was just saying that to make me feel better. 2 years after me first meeting Lynn, at the age of 26, I proposed to her. As I mentioned earlier that I was not looking for love or to settle down, but when Lynn walked into my life that day, everything changed. After 2 years, I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with this woman, and what better way to show my commitment to this relationship than asking her to marry me. She happily said yes, and our journey of planning the marriage began. Not too long after the proposal, we exchanged our vows in a heartfelt ceremony. I did not have many family and friends to invite to the wedding in Vietnam, other than my parents. There was only one friend there. Lynn, on the other hand, invited a lot. I did not realise how many family and friends she actually had. It was packed with her side of the family. Our love had only grown stronger. As we embarked on this new chapter as husband and wife, we carried with us the lessons learnt from our experiences. As me and Lynn settled into our new life and new apartment, I can consider myself quite lucky. Love hadn't been something I was actively searching for when I first arrived in Vietnam. It had found me in the form of Lynn, breaking through language barriers and cultural divides. Back to when I was planning my wedding, I was searching online for information about getting married in Asia. Something I kept stumbling upon were stories from other foreigners that have been married here, and it turned out pretty bad. It was actually hard to find a relationship story that had a good ending. I think that is partly why I want to share my story and show that indeed it can work out, and in fact you don't really know when love is going to strike, whether you are looking for it or not. I hope our love story, one that started randomly one day when I was volunteering, can give some hope to the future relationships here in Vietnam. Thanks for listening. So what do you think to that, guys? It's nice to have a success story once in a while. Seems like he's pretty happy with his Vietnamese wife, and like he said, you never know when love's going to strike. Yeah, let me know what you guys think, and if you've got a story or experience you want to share, send it through to me and I'll get it read out for you. Until next time, guys, I'll see you then.